Alright, so we're getting some squats in today. I think today's sets of 6. I guess unless coach changed it up on us. But we'll see what we hit today. Last week it was 170. So getting up close to 400. I'm expecting to be over that this coming block. I think this week, doing week 4, so should be easier. I think today's supposed to be RP 5-6, so lighter day. Probably be 160 kilos. Nothing too crazy. We'll see how it goes. See how I'm feeling. Maybe I feel fantastic, and I go 170 for set 6, and it's RP 5. You never know. Maybe miraculous things will happen. But that's happening today. We'll get some bench in as well. Maybe my bench still slowly but surely going up. Yeah, that's been, I guess, impressive and encouraging to see. My weights still just keep going up. I'm hoping that it'll consistently take place that way. Yeah, I mean, yeah, and hit a bunch of accessories today. See if, I mean, my coach has always kind of pushed this, and I totally agree with it. I think those accessories need to be pushed. Like, I think your body is able to accommodate closer to failure activities when it comes from accessory movements. So I think there is such musculature required for squat, bench, deadlift that just I guess an overuse in the intensity area can cause pain, injury, whatnot, because there are so many attributes that are involved in all of those lifts. But because of the accessory movements, there's only maybe 1 or 2 joints being used in a lot of accessory movements. You can push those closer to failure because there are only a handful of places that injury or pain can occur. Not saying they don't occur, but it's a lot more accommodating in your push towards failure. So all those accessory movements, I've been thinking I'm not pushing them as hard as I need to push them. I mean, that's a powerlifter's, I guess, kryptonite, is pushing accessory movements difficult, or pushing things in excess just in general. That's something that no powerlifter does, but I think I need to start pushing towards in those accessory movements. But yeah. And yeah, I think kind of going into, I guess, the vision of your fitness journey, this weekend, my long runs are always on Saturdays. This last Saturday was the longest run I've hit so far since my accident. It was 7 miles. Felt good. Wasn't too crazy. I mean, about 5.5 miles into my run, that's when I started to feel the weight of what I was doing. Because usually my longer-ish runs are usually around 5.5 miles. So once my body achieved that 5.5 mile mark, it was like, whoa, what are we doing? We're still going? So that 5.5 mile to 7 miles, it wasn't super rough, but I was feeling it. I was definitely feeling it. So, yeah, but it was also, I was a part of a run club this Saturday. That was interesting. And the interesting part about it, I mean, yeah, I got to know a few people that I've never met before, but the interesting part about it was having discussions with them. I mean, we talked about life and whatnot, but often what came up was, I mean, fitness journey. Since it's a run club, people were talking about how they got into running, how long they've been running, and a few of those guys, you can tell they're lifters, and then they are starting to go to these run clubs to involve their cardio more in their training. So I was discussing with those lifters, and I guess just the people at the run club in general. And I don't know. I think it's really interesting to see other people's view on how to pursue fitness and whatnot. I think what I came to realize is people's view on it, I guess, is a lot more limited than their body is actually capable of achieving. I mean, they see me, and as I would discuss with them, I didn't do the run that they did. They did like was it a 3-mile run? It was like 1.5 miles down the beach and then 1.5 miles back, something like that. It wasn't exactly a mile and a half, but whatnot. So they did their 3-mile run. It wasn't too difficult. And so it took 20-30 minutes, nothing crazy. But then I got back from my 7-mile run, and they were like, wait, you ran 7 miles? Oh, you must be an extreme cardio bunny. I mean, you're big as well, but you must love cardio. And to hear from me, oh no, I hate cardio. Running sucks. Then that confused them, and they're like, oh, so you ran 7 miles? You must have been running like for most of your life as well. No, actually, I was in a motorcycle crash, and I wasn't able to be on my feet like this last December. And you see further confusion hit them, and they're like, so it's like all of those assumptions that they had about me were totally disbanded by the actual reality that I was living in. And I think some of them saw it as, I guess, they would view it as inspirational. Like, in spite of all of the negatives that are occurring in this guy's life, he's able to push himself to go further in those physical attributes. And then the other half of them see me as, oh, he's just a genetic freak who's extremely lucky with his physical ability. Therefore, he can have something terrible like that happen to him and still come out the other side totally fine. And I think those people shoot themselves in the foot. I don't think they realize how physically capable they are. Their physical capability is very much prohibited by their view on what they can do. Where they'll go to a Saturday morning run, and 3 miles to them is their max. Like, I cannot go any further. But there are ways, and I think they don't realize it, but there are ways they can push themselves a little bit further. Not saying that their 3-mile run wasn't difficult. I'm also not saying I was running at the same pace they were. I was running at a 14.5-minute pace most of the time. And a lot of them were running at like a sub 12.5-minute pace. So they were running faster than me. But it's, I guess, their view on their physical ability, I think, is inhibited by, I guess, how other people see them and perceive them. Whereas how I view my physical fitness is essentially, I can't say fully, but essentially independent of how other people see me. I mean, and so when it plays into my cardiovascular ability, my ability to run great distances, I told them about how my cardio journey post motorcycle accident started out with like 200-foot repeats, where I would like jog at like a 16-minute pace, maybe 200 feet, and then walk 200 feet, jog 200 feet, walk 200 feet. And I would do that 10 times. And at the end of that, I was beat. And I think that was like January, right around there. It's like 6 months before this. And being able to not ignore, but put aside what everyone else is seeing. Oh, this guy is pathetically running 200 feet and then walking 200 feet. Essentially being able to ignore that realizing, okay, I need to find the areas in which I can operate and push myself from there. So starting out like that, and then maybe the next week running around the block, and not just running, but I would run walk around the block. And then the week after that, maybe I run walk a mile, and then the week after that 2 miles, and just slowly but surely pushing myself. I remember that week where I didn't have to walk in my run. Like, I had my 2-mile run and I went the whole way without walking. That was like unbelievably encouraging to me. And so then pushing further after that to be able to run 3 miles, 4 miles, until I got to the point where, you know what, I'm running 7 miles. And it may be at a 14.5-minute pace. However, just 3 weeks ago, I was running a 4.5-mile run at a 15.5-minute pace. So it's essentially ignoring how you perceive other people watching you, and being able to push yourself at the pace that your body allows you to. So when it comes to the 7-miler, being able to, I know I can run 7 miles, but I know the pace at which I'm going to have to run it is going to be a lot slower. However, I can still run that 7 miles. That 7 miles is still achievable. Being able to push yourself a greater degree is still achievable, but it's being able to moderate that, not using other people's, I guess, perception of you as what moderates it, but viewing it from your own lens, from the objective lens of, okay, this is where my capability is right now. Let's just push it a little bit further. And then after we're there, okay, let's push it a little bit further. Ignoring other people's perception of you. And I think that's something that I don't even know if, I mean, very, very few people at that run club have actually come in contact with. Hitting that realization of, oh, this physical exertion that I'm under, most of the 99% of the time, no one else is going to see it. And all of the gains are pretty much made absent anybody else's view. So it doesn't really matter how other people see me. And maybe I need to stop regulating my training based on other people's perception of me. That was something I learned that other people have not, I guess, overcome. In my experience this last Saturday. That was very interesting. And it's something that, like, I've kind of known, but it was very cool to see and actually come in contact with. It was encouraging, and I guess more encouraging to let people know that they are able to achieve more than they realize. And oftentimes what needs to be dispelled is their reliance on how other people see them. But yeah, just one of the things I ran into when I was running on Saturday. But I think we're pulling up to the gym now. We're gonna get these squats in. I think you'll probably see me do this in a few seconds. But catch you guys there. All right. Oh. So I did my warm-up sets. I got to 150 kilos, and I don't know, my back might be feeling a little saucy right now. So I don't know. We're gonna see how 170 feels. So I was wrong. We are going for RPE 7 today, like last week. So we'll see how it feels. Yeah, it's again set of 6, the RPE 7. Thinking 170 will be fine. The 150 I did felt good, so 170 shouldn't be that big of a deal. And putting the belt on actually felt not bad today. I forgot to put the little stuff on my belly to make it not hurt as much, but for some reason it doesn't hurt regardless. So, I don't know, maybe I'm getting tougher. But we'll see how this feels today. I'm thinking it'll be okay. Do 3 sets of this, and yeah, we'll see how it goes. Let's get these sleeves on. One curse I have from running makes my calves big. The one time, I wish I didn't have bigger calves. Oh, goodness. I don't think you ever hear a gym bro ask for smaller calves. This is the one exception to that rule. Okay. Okay, here we go. There we go. All right. 6, here we go. Here we go, 6. All right, here we go. All right. Yeah. We'll just sit there for 2 sets. That felt 7-ish. Yeah. I'm thinking, yeah, I mean, it didn't feel as difficult on my back as it did last week. Like just holding that much weight on my back. The squat itself felt just as difficult, but I guess the feel of holding near 400 pounds is starting to feel more regular. So I guess that's the benefit. Those are the gains I can look at. But yeah. I think next week is our easier week. Be able to go to RP 6, 5 or 6. Looking forward to it. Yeah. 2 more sets of this. Well, these warm-up sets for my bench, I've been feeling a little saucy. I think I used that word last time, but it's been feeling. We'll see how this set goes. It's supposed to be RP 7, but this could scrape into RP 8. I don't know. We'll see how this feels. This is my first set. I got 2 more after this, but yeah, I'm kind of worried. All right, let's just do it. If it sucks, it sucks. Oh, gosh. Oh. That last set right there was a little rough. But I think it's because I didn't arch enough. I think there was too much movement in my midsection. Too much energy was leaking in my abs. So I'm gonna see if we can tighten up that midsection, arch a little more, and really focus on that. I know that last set right there, the biggest pain was actually just like the scar tissue in my abs. So I'm thinking it won't be as bad this time because it's like we broke it in. I think it'll be okay this time, but I might totally just crash. But all right. Let's see how this goes. I have a feeling it's gonna be bad. Okay. Oh, okay. I think that was easier, but and the arching definitely helped. Gosh, those last two sets were both a grind. Let's see if I can get myself to fail this time. I know it's supposed to be a 7, but we'll see. I think this might be a fail. Alright. Nah. I almost skipped this third set, but for the views, I'll do it. For all like half dozen views I get, I'll do it. For you 6 out there. Oof. Ooh. Somehow that was the easiest set I did. This is making little no sense. I don't know. Whatever, I'll take it though. Nice. 35, here we go. We're an hour above 30. Oh. One more set. I'll go for 10. Oof. I'm not looking forward to this set. Oh, it's gonna be a grind. It's gonna be a grind. Alright, here we go. However, this is the heaviest my lat race has ever been. So I'll take it. Oof. Oh, those last few looked ugly. This has been a weird day. Yeah, I'll let you guys know, but it's been a weird day. I'm laughing internally. I did not realize this, but apparently this like drive in the car and like film yourself at the gym is like why Sam Sulek is famous. I didn't know that. Like, I guess like I've seen videos of him, but they're always like shorts and like reels and whatnot. I didn't know like he has like a YouTube channel with like videos of this. I didn't realize that. Apparently I'm copying him, but whatever. I'll just continue to do it and just pretend like I never saw that. But yeah. So today's lift was a little strange. I did not see it going the way that it did. It was terrible and great at the same time. Didn't know that was possible. But apparently, so I started warming up for my squats, and like I just felt like a knot in my lower back, which generally is what will like keep me from lifting heavy right now. I have some lower back pain that I'm kind of like just melding my way through. I don't know if that's a good enough word, but whatever. Getting my way through it. And so I was warming up, getting comfortable with my squats today. And I knew they were just going to be difficult. I knew they were not going to be fantastic. So I got up to my 170. That first set, it felt pretty good. That second set was harder. That third set, it was just like... oh, apologies. That third set, it was, yeah. Some would probably say that it wasn't an RPE 7, but I'm going to say it was. Then I went to bench, which I'm sure you guys see. And, yeah, those first two sets felt like a grind. I think, well, I know that the sets became easier as my midsection, my abdominal cavity, as like the scar tissue got like flexed or more malleable. It's essentially like stretching before my lift. very strange, but like those first few warm-up sets of my bench, I think I need to throw in more warm-up sets, because the first few sets of my bench, it is painful to get that full arch in my bench, because those first two working sets, like the first set was the hardest set of my working sets, not even close. It was difficult. It was like a grind. And that second set, it was a little bit easier, and that third set flew. And I'm fairly certain it was because I was able to arch more. And not saying, I mean, my arch is nothing significant, but it essentially, what the arch does is it keeps your, like, the abdominal cavity and your body extremely rigid. Because as your body moves around and wiggles and whatnot during the bench, every wiggle, all of that movement is essentially energy leaking out. You want those energy leakages to be zero, so all of your energy can be focused on that pressing movement, which is the main reason why we arch so much in the bench. Now, some people, their arch has a different role, and it minimizes the range of motion. For me, that's never really been the thing. My arch has never been significant. However, my bench has shot up in my powerlifting career. I mean, it was my best bench ever was 430. So, I mean, I got the longest arms in the business. But for some reason, my bench was pretty darn good. And I'm going to get it back up there. But I think I need to start throwing in more warm-up sets for my bench. Just so I can get that arch ready and primed for my working sets. Because I think the lack of flexibility in my arch is what's hindering my growth right now. I'm not saying that there's no growth. I think I could just prioritize or optimize the growth by really working on those warm-up sets. So, yeah. And the accessory work actually went incredible today. I was extremely surprised. That's what the good part of my workout was today. Those main compound lifts were the drawback, but those accessory lifts they shot up like a rocket. My neutral grip lat pull downs jumped up another 10 pounds. Like, no big deal. It felt essentially the same as last week. Then my dumbbell lat raises, those shot up another 5 pounds. Same with my tricep extensions. Those shot up. And my bicep dumbbell curls. Yeah, I mean, the last few weeks, it was like 3 sets of 8 to 10. But this week it was 3 sets of 10, and it was pretty easy. It wasn't like a serious grind. So, I mean, my accessories, it was a success in pushing those today. I was very thrilled to see those go up. So I'm happy with the progress in my accessories. I'll take that. At least there is progress in one area at the gym. Yeah. Oh yeah, there was also something else. I've been melding away. Why do I keep using that term? Whatever. I've been pondering today a lot. It's one of the things that we're going to take a drastic shift away from gym topics. But when one of the major theologians that I've listened to is R.C. Sproul. Now, he's a Presbyterian in like the infant baptism thing I don't agree with. However, most of the other stuff that he pushes is extremely well-founded in biblical teaching. But, and I'm no way going to say that I know more than R.C. Sproul. However, one of the major teachings I received as I grew up was listening to R.C. Sproul, and a sermon he left in particular that really has stuck it to my mind is his sermon on Isaiah chapter 6. And emphasizing God's holiness, as well as the response of Isaiah to being confronted with a perfect holy God. Today I was listening to Daniel, and I don't know, maybe it was because of the accident or something. Maybe I've never really connected these dots before, but in Daniel 10, Daniel is, I guess, he has a vision where he sees Christ himself, and it explains Christ in a very typical godlike way, where he has a face of lightning and he has pearly eyes, and it's essentially just he is essentially just man with the essence of light coming from him. And Daniel responds to this vision of Christ pretty much the exact same way that Isaiah responds to this revelation and this vision. They both are immediately aware of the difference between them and God. They both immediately realize that they are desperately wicked, even though compared to everybody else on this earth, I mean, they're prophets. I mean, I'm sure, like, I guess I'm not astute theologian that knows the Bible backwards and forwards, but I can't really think of times in Scripture where we're presented with the sinfulness of Daniel and Isaiah. But compared to everybody else in the world, they're essentially like top tier when it comes to righteousness. However, when presented with perfect righteousness, perfect holiness in the scope in the person of God, the difference between them and the worst person on earth is insignificant compared to the difference between them and God himself. They immediately realize, oh my goodness, I am desperately wicked compared to a perfect holy God. My sinfulness is way greater than I ever imagined. And it causes both of them to fall to their knees. And in Daniel, it says that his face kisses the ground because of his sinfulness. And God's response to both of them was exactly the same. Now, it happened differently in both passages. I had to look this up. But in Isaiah, God sends an angel to touch Isaiah's lips, to give him the ability to speak to a perfect holy God. But then in Daniel, Christ himself touches Daniel's lips to give him the ability to speak to a holy God. And I think we come to the understanding that left within our own sinful, unholy nature and, I guess, fallenness, we have no ability to even speak to a perfect holy God. Our natural reaction is to fall on our face and know in our heads, in our minds, that we are destined for eternal damnation. However, it is only through Christ's work of cleansing us, of touching our lips, of touching ourselves to remove that sinfulness. That is the only way we are able to have the righteousness and the holiness that is required to be able to even have the ability to approach God simply with our words. So, I mean, it's something I've been thinking about a good amount today. And it's kind of funny. Actually, someone sent me a random message on Instagram discussing exactly this. I mean, he pulled from different places in the Bible, but essentially giving this same topic of discussion. How we essentially have a mask that we get to wear during our time on earth, that we never actually get to see our own full sinfulness, and we never get to actually see the sinfulness of others others don't get to see the sinfulness of us, because we have essentially this righteous, I can't say totally righteous, but it is like a righteous mask that's put over our face, spiritually speaking. And only when God presents himself to us and we can compare ourselves to him do we intimately understand the gravity of our situation. Our mask is taken away, and we understand adjectives, I can't think of them. The hairy situation that we are a part of. Yeah. I think that is, it's something I've been thinking about, and God's been using to he's been using others to point that out to me today. I think, it's something I'll probably be thinking about for a good little bit. It's something I've been thinking about for a good portion of my life. It's continually brought up to me. It's shown to me a few times consistently throughout my life. Maybe it's just because it's a lesson that I need to continually teach myself, or God is continually teaching me. It's something I need to work on. There are definite times where I don't see myself as sinful as I know I am, or God knows I am. Because there are times when I don't know how sinful I am. So, one of the things I've been thinking about a good amount today. But I know it's going to be rolling around in my head for a while. And maybe it should be something that rolls around in a lot of other people's heads. I'm hoping it gives you guys something to think about, pray about, and I guess study God's Word with that in mind. Because I think Americans in general, or I guess this American evangelical push that we've seen over the last couple decades, essentially takes out the significant, negative view of humanity. It takes away, the weight of our sinfulness to only give us the good news. But the good news is not so good when all of the negatives of our situation are taken away. When all that's preached to us is, oh, God loves you. You are worth it in the eyes of God. When pastors only preach about how much God loves you and how you're worth it to him, and you need to be working on the mental health and all of those things that paint us as that paint us as it puts in our mind that we're actually pretty fantastic according to God, whereas when we're actually attuned with how God sees us, or how we should see ourselves when compared to God, it should humble us dramatically. And it should cast us to our knees. But then at the same time realizing that it is only because God's mercy and grace that we are able to be in his presence and still at the same time receive the cleansing power that Christ can only give. I think a lot of people need to realize that. A lot of American evangelicals need to wrap their mind around that. I think that's something that's not usually discussed. But it's been something that it's been fundamental in my walk for a long time. But, again, something I've just been wrestling through. But other than that, I got to get home, cook some dinner. I'm gonna start. I gotta separate my 6 pounds of ground beef that I have in my fridge. Lots of work. Gonna get to bed early tonight and get that extra sleep so I can wake up at 4 a.m. tomorrow morning and get after it again. Get that run in. But until then, I will catch you guys later. I think I'm gonna have you guys jump in with me on my Friday. We'll see. But I'll keep you guys updated.